I'm Lights Camera Jackson, and welcome to LCJ Live. It is Sunday, our final show of the year. It is 123 123. Isn't that amazing? The count. Everybody's been posting that online the last couple days. We're here. It's the final day of the year. I saw 240 new movies in 2023. That is a record by 6, and it was quite a year for film. If you haven't seen my list of the top 35 movies I saw in 2023, go to culture.com when you're done watching this episode of LCJ Live, because right now we're going to talk about box office, some new movies that opened Monday with their first chance of getting into the weekend box office top 10 this weekend, including The Boys in the Boat with Joel Edgerton, directed by George Clooney, Ferrari from Michael Mann, starring Adam Driver, and The Color Purple musical. Hope you had a nice Christmas. If you're sending in questions or comments, if you're watching live, you can do that right here. I will see them. Happy New Year. The ball's going to drop in just 12 hours. Happy Noon Year for all the families who may be going to events today celebrating Happy Noon Year. We're going to ring in 2024, but first a look at the final weekend of 2023. When we spoke last, it was Christmas Eve, and The Color Purple was about to open. And wow, it had a huge Christmas day of $18.2 million, right even with Les Mis, the second biggest open ever for a movie on Christmas Day, for an opening day. The top movie being Sherlock Holmes from 2009, with I think close to $25 million. Remember Christmas 2009? Avatar, Sherlock Holmes, and the second Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, and It's Complicated. That was a huge Christmas. This Christmas and New Year's section, okay, not outrageously huge when it comes to the box office, but decent. When you look at the top movies, you know, they've got ones and twos in front of them, and you add them up and they make a decent amount of money. Back on top after being in the runner-up position last week. Wonka, $24 million. Wow. Wonka is up to 134.7. It's going to get to about 142 and a half, 143 by the end of tomorrow night. And it is the second biggest Warner Brothers movie of the year, only behind Barbie. It passed The Flash to become number 2. And this Wonka movie, I'm saying, you know, it's doing even numbers with Mary Poppins Returns from 5 years ago. It may even do better than that. I mean, clearly, with a $24 million weekend here, and that Mary Poppins movie did about 172. This is probably going to pass 172. Try to make it run at 200. And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, back in 2005, made 206.5. Wouldn't it be interesting if this Wonka also got to 206.5 close to 20 years later? Big John, hey Jackson, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Ringing in the new year. We're 12 hours away from 2024, but we recap a little of the end of 2023. Number 2 goes to Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which dropped from 28.1 last weekend down to 19.5 this weekend. Not a huge drop, but 19.5. It's at 78. It's going to add another 5 or 6 million tomorrow to pass Meg 2 to get on Warner Brothers' top 5 movies of the year list. So it'll pass Meg 2. It'll pass The Nun 2. And then it needs 108.2 in order to pass The Flash. At this point, I'm going to say yes to Aquaman passing The Flash. So, biggest DC movie of the year out of the 4 movies that opened. We had Shazam and Blue Beetle as well. And third biggest Warner Brothers movie of the year behind Barbie and Wonka. As for The Color Purple actually came in 4th this weekend. Also from Warner Brothers, it had that huge $18 million Christmas Day, but then it had some big drops and not nearly as much money the rest of the way. $13 million for Friday through Sunday. It's at 45.3. It'll add probably another $5 million or so tomorrow to put it at $50 million. You know, it's pretty good for a week to say, hey, we could make $50 million in a week, 8 days. That's not bad. Again, it's going to need about 85 to get into that Warner Brothers top 5 for the year. It will depend on how long Warner keeps this in theaters before it goes to digital, how the Oscar nominations come into play, how it'll do with the Golden Globes. Look, it's not even nominated for Best Picture, Comedy, or Musical. So it's not going to have a huge impact off of that unless it gets those 2 acting wins for Danielle Brooks and Fantasia Barrino. Critics' Choice, following week, it is nominated for Best Picture and some other categories. So we'll see what kind of impact, but the Oscar nomination's not till January 23rd, so we'll see how much money The Color Purple can make throughout the month of January. Third place goes to Migration, a movie that started out slow. Last week, just $12 million, Thursday through Sunday, but huge, as I anticipated, with kids off of school. Huge Monday, but especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and this weekend, Friday through Sunday, another 17 million. It's at 54.3. It'll add another 5 or 6 million, get to about 60 by tomorrow night. Most kids still off of school tomorrow for New Year's Day. Illumination and Universal are probably very happy that the film is, already 4 times plus what its opening weekend was in just a few days. It's got the new Despicable Me short Mooned in front of it. Migration itself is only like 77 minutes without the credits, but you add the credits, you add that short, and of course 31 minutes of trailers and ads, depending on where you go to see a movie these days, and you get a 2-hour-ish plus experience for families over the holidays. So Migration is making money, and that 108 mark, we talked about it with The Flash, that 108 mark for Hop, Illumination's long-time lowest grossing movie, we will see, depending on if families need something to see over the next month or two, if Migration can pass that mark, get to the century mark. It'll be really interesting when Soul opens on the 12th of January, a movie that's been on Disney Plus for 3 years, but is finally going to theaters. How many people go see it in theaters? An Oscar-winning animated movie, won Best Animated Feature, won Original Score as well. Pixar putting it out in theaters, which I'm glad. I am glad that Soul, Turning Red, and Luca are getting the theatrical releases that they deserve. I will continue to say this when people talk about, movies, shouldn't have been sent to VOD and streaming and Disney Plus and all this during COVID. The only movie out of those 3 that should have gone to Disney Plus at the time under the circumstances was Soul. Soul opened on Disney Plus, debuted on Disney Plus on Christmas Day of 2020. No one wanted to go to the movies. Some people did go see Wonder Woman 1984 and the Tom Hanks movie News of the World, but no families wanted to risk their lives at the time to go to the movies on Christmas Day of 2020 and around that time of year. And because Disney and Pixar still wanted the movie to be eligible for awards and ended up winning the 2 Academy Awards, they had to release the movie somehow. When the Academy said, we will accept streaming and VOD releases this year, they said, all right, we're going to release this movie this year. It's going to be on Disney Plus. It's going to be a gift for families for the holidays, and we're going to qualify it for awards, and it dominated the award season. Luca should have come out in summer 2021 in the middle of June because things were better by then. You had Space Jam, you had Boss Baby, you had a few others, Peter Rabbit, that didn't do quite well, but a Pixar movie would have done better than all of those. And Turning Red should have opened in theaters in March of 2022. By then, again, not everything was perfect. Not everything is still perfect when it comes to all of this. But at that time, Turning Red should have also been given a theatrical release. So I'm glad all 3 of these are finally getting the theatrical releases they deserve. It begins with Soul on January 12th. And we'll see how many families go to Soul versus how many families go to Migration who have not seen it yet. Next up, a movie that just keeps doing better numbers every single day, and that is Anyone But You, the Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell rom-com that I saw last Tuesday. Not a huge fan of the movie. I think a lot of it's annoying and silly and ridiculous and flat and just does not work. The Shakespeare elements, the 2 of them, their performances, the way the story goes. Not one of my favorite films from Will Gluck, the director. $9 million this weekend, a huge improvement over the $6 million from last weekend. And the during the week numbers, it kept doing better every single day. It's up to 25.1 million. It'll probably get to 28 by tomorrow night. Young people are going to this movie. I am actually surprised the movie is rated R. I think it would be doing even better if it was PG-13. There are a lot of fans of Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria, teens who watch that show. And I think there are, a lot of 15, 16-year-olds who would want to go see the movie with their friends, but it's rated R, so you got to be 17, you got to have an adult, all of that. I think the movie would be doing even better if it was PG-13. And as I watched the movie, there were only a couple of scenes, little bit of language here and there, and a couple of scenes, couple of moments, angles, shots, things that could have been edited out. This could have been a PG-13. I'm surprised it's R. I think it's, could be making even more money. But I think Sony is happy after it only started with 6 million last weekend that we're talking about 28 and making a run at 35. Not bad for a movie that I think only cost about $25 million to make. Next up is The Boys in the Boat, which has been pretty strong too, especially for families around the country. Even though it's PG-13, a solid option for families, especially if you play on a team, sports. 8.3 million for The Boys in the Boat. It's at 21.9. They're looking at close to 25 million by tomorrow night for this Amazon MGM release. A movie that I like. I don't think it's amazing. I think if it was a powerhouse, it would be on the Best Picture ballot. It's not quite that, but it's a good movie. It's fine. And I think people are enjoying it. We don't have the money for Solar for week 2 yet, but next up should be The Iron Claw. The Iron Claw added 5 million. It's at 16.4. It's gonna make a run at 18 million or so. Probably try to get to 25. When you look at A24 for the year, I believe the number 2 movie is Priscilla with about 21 million. And then number 1 is Talk to Me with 48.3. This will not get to the 48.3, The Iron Claw of Talk to Me, but it will pass Priscilla to become the second biggest A24 movie of the year, which I don't know if a lot of people saw this coming, that The Iron Claw would make as much money as it has. But it's a good movie with Zac Efron, Lily James, Holt McElhaney as the dad. I think should be getting supporting actor consideration. It's a good film that people are going to see in the theaters. So it's making some money. Speaking of making some money, Ferrari. 4.1 million this weekend. It's at 11.9. Probably about, what are we thinking, 13 and a half by tomorrow night. When you look at the neon chart, which I'm pulling up now, yeah, that money's off, I think. Or 10, maybe 10.9 after this weekend and then 12.1 by tomorrow night. Yeah, I think so. It is now going to be the 3rd highest grossing neon movie. It's going to pass Three Identical Strangers, which made 12.3 million, to become the 3rd biggest neon movie of all time. Now, neon's been around for like 7 or 8 years, and now this movie, Ferrari, is going to be number 3, only behind Parasite and I, Tonya, 2 big, big movies. Parasite, of course, Best Picture Oscar winner, made more than $50 million. And I, Tonya made $30 million back in 2017. Allison Janney won the Supporting Actress Oscar. And this is the movie that kind of put neon on the map. This is the movie that everybody went, what is this studio? This is really interesting. Wow, this movie's great. I got to see more from Neon. There was a little buzz early for a few others earlier that year, but I, Tonya was the movie that made people wake up and go, whoa, what is Neon? They are a player. And then boom, 2 years later, here's Parasite, Best Picture winner. So now Ferrari's going to be number 3. That is quite an accomplishment. It's making a little bit of money, 12 million, but that's good enough for number 3 for Neon. Hunger Games added 2.9 million. It's at 160. It may. I didn't think this was going to happen. It may try to get to that 165 of Knives Out to continue to climb up that Lionsgate all-time chart. I think be like 8th or 7th. Yeah, there's going to be another Hunger Games. There's got to be. This is doing pretty well. Boy and the Heron added 2.5 million. It's at 36, one of your top best animated feature contenders. Godzilla -1, just outside the top 10 as of now. 2.4 million. It's at 45.7, a movie that opened with 11 million, and it's going to probably get to 50. That's an accomplishment. Poor Things added 2.3 million. It'll be over 11 million, maybe close to 12 by tomorrow night. Emma Stone is a Best Actress frontrunner for her performance in Poor Things, a film from Searchlight. Searchlight also has All of Us Strangers, a movie that's not going to go wide until late January. It stars Andrew Scott, who's up for the Golden Globe for actor in a drama. Still in just 6 theaters, added 129,000. It's at 362, probably going to get to 400 by tomorrow. All of Us Strangers is a movie I saw in October. A film I like, but it all doesn't come together. It doesn't have rules. It should have rules with what it wants to do and the devices. Claire Foy is very good, though. Trolls Band Together added 2 million. It's at 97.6. Universal and DreamWorks will very, very much try to get this to $100 million. It is on Universal's top 5 for the year. And Disney's Wish added 1.3 million. It has crossed the 60 million mark. It'll try to get to 65, but that'll be tough. Like we said out of the gate, kind of right in between Strange World, which made 38, and Encanto, which made 96. For the last 2 years for Disney animated movies, this being number 3, it falls in between. I don't think Disney expected this. I think they thought this was going to do really well, and for it to be in between those other two is a disappointment. There are interviews with some of the makers of the Oscar shortlisted animated shorts available now at animationscoop.com. Check those out. I've seen 13 of the 15 animated shorts that are in contention for the Oscar this year so far. I've got 2 left to screen. I've seen 13 of them. They're very good. A lot of them are serious this year, but there are some fun ones and emotional ones, and the looks of all of them are really interesting. It's a good group to dissect and take a look at not just the look of it, but the themes of these shorts. Next Sunday's the Golden Globe Awards. I'll do my predictions, some on social media probably, and some here on LCJ Live. LCJ Live this coming week may be Saturday. I will let you know, but we'll do Golden Globe Awards predictions for the show, which airs next Sunday, January 7th at 8, right after the NFL on CBS. Hosted by Joe Coy, the ex of Chelsea Handler, who's hosting the Critics' Choice Awards the next Sunday, the 14th of the CW. I think that's pretty interesting. Society of the Snow is one of my top 5 movies of the year, and it's on Netflix starting Thursday. It's from J.A. Bayona. It is an experience. Why J.A. Bayona isn't being talked about for the Best Director group, I have no idea, because it's amazing direction. You know, some angles, some shots, some things that happen in this movie, and you go, how in the world did they film this the way they did? How did they capture the emotions and the characters in these situations the way that they did? It is quite a film, quite an experience. Netflix has another new movie coming out this week called Good Grief from Dan Levy of Schitt's Creek. I have not seen Good Grief yet. I hope to, though, later this week. And the big theatrical release, as Blumhouse and Universal try to capture the magic that they had this past January with Megan earning $95 million. They're going to try with Night Swim. I saw the director of Night Swim at New York Comic Con in October. He talked a little bit about the movie, and he was on stage with Jason Blum's name is Bryce McGuire. And Night Swim, you know, I haven't seen a lot about it, but the movie stars Wyatt Russell, who's on the Godzilla show with his dad, Kurt, right now. And you know who else is in Night Swim? Is Carrie Condon, the Oscar nominee from last year for The Banshees of Inisherin. So I'm intrigued that the two of them are in this movie. And I hope it's good. I hope it's exciting. I hope it's intense and not just a gimmick. First week of January, you know, maybe some young people will go. It is PG-13, so they're trying to capture that audience. A lot of people complain that Megan was only PG-13 last year, but I don't know if it would have made $95 million if it wasn't. There were some legitimate kids, 6-year-olds going with their grandparents to Megan. I was there. I saw multiple sets of 6- and 5-year-olds who wanted to see the movie about the doll, even though they had no idea what it was about, which was interesting. So we will see how many people go see Night Swim this weekend. Will it top Wonka, Aquaman, Migration next weekend? It could. Or it may not have quite the impact because of so many other movies in theaters right now. Megan was very in your face. Wow, it's a movie about a crazy doll. I got to go see this movie. Night Swim, I don't know if I'm feeling as much of a marketing impact. I think they thought so. Universal did when they put it at New York Comic Con. They have the long range on it. Box Office Pro. Night Swim, 17 to 25. Boy, if it makes 25, Universal's going to be happy. I don't see it making 25. I see it more towards that 17. But 17 could be good enough to win unless Wonka has a strong weekend next weekend. We will see. Coyote versus Acme. is finally coming next year. Eric Bauza confirmed that on social media today, and he posted the picture that had been circulating, I thought. Will Forte and Wile E. Coyote, so that is cool. Liza Friedman, Night Swim, not quite as memeable as Megan. Yeah, that's true. Megan's so memeable. All the dolls come to life with the premiere that happened last year. So yeah, I don't see Night Swim. Could be a better movie. I wasn't a huge fan of the Megan movie. I thought it was kind of cheesy and fell apart about halfway through. But I don't. Maybe it's a better movie, but I don't see it being as big of a box office success. Maybe versus the budget, maybe it will be. But in terms of that 95 for Megan, no, I don't see that. If it does, hey, Universal wins the first weekend of January again, and they're very happy. And maybe there's a second Night Swim, just like a second Megan is coming the next January. So we will see. But yes, Coyote versus Acme is coming next year. Eric Bauza did not reveal where. But who knows? I know some streamers were looking at it. Amazon was looking at it. So we will see where Coyote versus Acme ends up. All right. Wow. That ends the year. Thank you for watching LCJ Live for 2023. I very much appreciate it. Have a safe and happy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and week. Next LCJ Live, which could be Saturday, we will do Golden Globes predictions. We'll see how Night Swim is doing and preview the theatrical release of Soul, along with a bunch of other movies opening for the 12th, including Mean Girls and The Book of Clarence, and some other movies that are coming out. Porch Fan says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Porch Fan. Thank you so much. What else is the 12th? Self-Reliance, which I have seen with Jake Johnson on Hulu and Neon. There are some screenings of Self-Reliance this week in select AMC theaters. I still don't think I'm allowed to share opinion yet, though. But Self-Reliance is in some theaters this week. And what else is coming? Lift with Kevin Hart on the 12th on Netflix, which I have seen. And yeah, I said Book of Clarence. The Beekeeper with Jason Statham's on the... So the 12th is a busy weekend for movies. Movies at home... Kevin Hart, Jake Johnson, Anna Kendrick's in Self-Reliance, and then in theaters, the Mean Girls movie, The Book of Clarence, The Beekeeper, and then Role Play is also at home, and Soul in theaters. So it's going to be people think it's going to be a slow January. I think Mean Girls is going to help the box office, and I think Oscar-nominated movie Expansion, Origin, All of Us Strangers, Freud's Last Session, maybe The Holdovers expands again. I think January is not going to be as bad as people think it's going to be. So that's my first prediction for 2024. Thanks for watching LCJ Live. Happy New Year. And I'll see you in 2024. Bye-bye.